today, Anthony Thompson Jr. If I had to honestly say why I was running for politics, I believe it was really this young man's death. Because as you've already, we kind of already touched on it and dibble-dabbed in it, but this is going to be directly to police brutality and how we constantly see these overzealous police officers so gun-ho to shoot somebody, to just be honest, when their number one assignment is actually to protect and serve. That's the irony. If you wanted to do shooting somebody, you should have joined the military, because the military definitely has that kind of scenario and environment and theater and combat zone for you to fall into, where that's your job, to go shoot some damn body. But when you're in American Police Department, your job is to protect and serve. And we know with the history of the police department, there's much conflicting and contradicting narrative to that type of statement being placed on the American Police Department. But the truth be told, their oath clearly states protect and serve in it. So we're going to stand to that. We're going to stand to what is actually the literal sense of the language. And the literal sense of the language on American Police Department's walls is protect and serve all over this country. So Anthony Thompson Jr. was a 17-year-old Black male high school youth student. He actually originally was attending Bearden High School. Here's the kicker. He was at a predominantly white school out in West Knoxville. I think the other piece that's critical to highlight about Anthony Thompson Jr., his mother, Shonda Dawn Robinson, is an actual employee of the Knox County school system. She does speech therapy for our special needs students in our school system. So Anthony was enrolled at Bearden for 3 years at Bearden High School. It was his senior year. He wanted to go to Austin East because I'm sure, like in Nashville, Pearl-Cohn, some of those schools, that's the Black school, right? And everybody want to graduate from the Black school. And in Knoxville,
yeah, we got lots of them in Nashville area. Yeah.
And here in Knoxville, our predominantly two Black schools is Austin East and Fulton. Like, that's why they're the robbery schools, because they're the Black schools, right? And so, you know, it is a badge of honor. You do become part of this beautiful, colorful community of Austin East graduate and alumni when you get that red and blue gown on and you cross that stage for AE. And so I understood why young brother Anthony would want to go to Austin East. I understand why he would want to fulfill his family legacy as being part of that Austin East, like I said, community and alumni graduate in his family as well. And so out of real consideration of what her son wanted and needed, Anthony's mother did decide for his senior year to transfer him to Austin East. On April 12th. So I'm gonna just fast forward from there. There's not really much to even talk about. You know, the media, I'm sure if you Google his name, the media's done a great job at criminalizing the young man. You know, as I've seen some of the folks in Twitter spaces and even around the country on media, period, highlight the fact that the Kentucky shooter, how they talk about he's a great student athlete. He was a college graduate. He worked on Wall Street, but he just murdered 8 innocent people for no damn reason. And so, you know, you see how they play it out, right? But when our Black boys, who didn't kill anyone for that matter, all he did was have a gun. Oh, he was the #1 criminal of America. He was a top thug. He was a gang member, you know, just the slandering of this young brother's name. And so that's why I said it's not much more for me to say here because the slandering's already been done. But I would say, look at this from the lens of your own home, America. Look at this as you've been the father or the mother of Anthony. Look at this as what you would want if it was your child in the bathroom when the police approached so aggressively. What was supposed to be really just unarming and apprehending him leads, unfortunately, to his murder on the bathroom floor. And so that's why I say Anthony was a kid. Anthony also played sports. He was on the AAU basketball team. Anthony had great relationship with his siblings. Anthony had a lot of male and female friends and classmates that really enjoyed and appreciated his presence. One of his favorite activities to do was the TikTok dances. He was all into that type of stuff. And he constantly made routine dances with his friends and classmates in school and outside of school for the TikTok stuff. So Anthony was a typical Black boy in America. A good kid, maybe not everything perfect, but overall he had people that loved and cared about him and really were invested in his best interest. That's the Anthony Thompson Jr. that I know, and that's the Anthony Thompson Jr. I'm going to lift up. April 12th, we know by some video recording of the school, as well as some of the body cam footage of the officers, that on April the 12th, Anthony Thompson Jr. has an argument with his girlfriend, Alexis Page. Pause. Alexis Page today is facing a 2nd-degree murder charge right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So let's remember, Alexis Page is supposed to be a victim. But today, Alexis Page is facing a 2nd-degree murder charge where she and her current boyfriend rode to a community member's home right here in Knoxville and shot up that house over 13 times. But I want to paint that scenario. She was supposed to be the victim and threat, and Anthony's supposed to be the bad guy, but this little girl faces a whole murder charge today. She tried to kill someone. So Alexis Page was his girlfriend. We see by the video footage that there is an argument or some type of disagreement between the two of them in the hallways of the Austin East High School. We even see at some point where Alexis is going to physically assault Anthony by slapping him or hitting him in some form with her hand. From there, we will watch the video footage of where we will get some evidence through the district attorney and some of the evidence that she revealed publicly of text messages between Anthony and Alexis Page's mother, where Alexis Page's mother is sending this young brother threatening text messages, telling him that her boyfriend's going to beat him up, telling him that she called the police and told him that she got a gun and he's going to get fucked up and killed. And you know, just really ugly things to say to a child at 17 years old, as you as a 40-something-year-old woman should know better to say in the first place. The timeline will go through from starting about one o'clock that day, and it'll end right around about 3 o'clock, right before school lets out. What we will see by the body cam footage is that 4 officers, Officer Wilson, Officer Claybo, and Officer Stanley Cash. By the way, Stanley Cash is a Black officer, and he was a ranking officer. He was a lieutenant. So he is the commanding officer on that scene in that moment. We will see these officers enter the school through the gymnasium back door, and that's the kicker. This is supposed to be an active shooter. Now, remember, this is how they sold the story. Remember, the original story was Anthony was an active shooter. But we're going to watch by body cam footage. The officers enter building calmly, smoothly, no alerting of anyone that they're in the building to confiscate a gun or anything from a student. You'll even see one of the officers, when they first enter the building, go into the bathroom. He takes his body cam off and he goes, you get a piss break real quick. Then you'll see the officers lazily take their time, walk down the hallway to the school security office. You'll see Officer Wilson, who's the actual assigned SRO to the Austin East School as their security officer. You'll see him look up on the computer where Anthony's at. You'll even at some point see another SRO into the office, and they come in there cracking jokes and laughing. So you got about 5 or 6 officers in the school security office cracking jokes and laughing and looking for Anthony. And oh, there he is, and oh, clowning more jokes about coffee and shit. Like literally, you can't make this up. This is how this goes. And then you'll see the officers exit the security office and go approach the bathroom where they have located Anthony's presence. When they enter the bathroom, Anthony is sitting in a stall in the bathroom. A fellow classmate and best friend, Graylin Strong, is sitting in the bathroom in another stall. And these brothers are literally sitting in the bathroom waiting for school to end, because Anthony was told by the white woman which is the mother of Alexis Page, who texts his phone with the threat for the police and her boyfriend coming to beat him up, that when he gets out of school today, that the boyfriend will be waiting for him outside of the school to whoop his ass, basically. So we're talking about a 40-some-year-old man jumping on a 70-year-old kid. So when folks are like, well, why did he have the gun? Because unfortunately in America, that's the message that this country sells as protection. In this country, y'all say, in order to protect yourself, it's not even always calling the police, but it's actually having a gun. So if someone breaks in your house, Kiko, you can protect your family. If someone violates your women in your household, Kiko, you can protect your women. This is the messaging that we sell. So let's not act like Anthony getting a gun as protection is just a random outrageous thought, when this country literally sells that messaging all day long, that in order to protect yourself, you need a gun. So he gets a gun. He does get a gun, because he's in the pressure that a 4-year-old man coming to jump on him, and he's 17-year-old. He already knows, I ain't in a fair fight. So let me even the score by bringing a gun or a knife or whatever he chooses. But he chose the gun that day. And so they sit in the bathroom. The officers approach the bathroom. They come in. You hear the officers telling him to stand up. Not saying, hey, Anthony, we were told you have a gun. So what I'm going to ask you to do at this time is, if you have a gun, take it out and slide across the floor to me. Like, there were so many ways to unarm him. As I said before, his mother works for the school system. Now, Kiko, you're a parent. Now, somebody calls you right now and says, hey, we got your son down here. We don't know if he doesn't have a gun, but what we need you to do is get down here and come in and disarm him and walk him out to us. Don't you think you're going to drive 900,000 miles per hour to that school to get to your kid before they do? Because you already know how this played out. If you don't get there before they do. So that's my first thing for the police department. If you really are thinking, particularly Stanley Cash, because Stanley Cash is a Black officer who participates in our community. He plays basketball at the Y with us. He be at the cookouts and the barbecues out of uniform, chilling on the block with us while we having drinks of beer and eating fried chicken and shit. So he is someone who I expected to have the greatest discernment in the position. And the sad part is, he was one of the worst ones in discernment in the position. So instead of thinking, let's call his mom and walk him out, or even let's let the school go on and inspire out, and then we can catch him outside. You know, there's just so many ways they could have went about it. But to me, it was always his mother. They could have called his mama, as any parent would have done, and they would have got down there in less than 10 seconds of you telling them, your kid got a gun in the bathroom, we need to come and get him out. She would have been there. I know that. I believe that wholeheartedly. She would have showed up for her child. But instead of using that option, these 4 men go into the bathroom, fully armed up themselves, and tell Anthony to stand up. You'll hear Anthony say some things like, I think he's referencing the young lady and the mother, like, man, they threatened me or something like that. He kind of says in the language of, and then you'll hear the officer say something about, let me see your hands. You'll hear that part. And then you'll hear Anthony kind of gibbering a little bit of something. But then when he stands up and kind of steps out the stall, the bathroom stall, you'll see the officers grab Anthony's arms and his hands. Now, this is where it gets really weird, because now this is where Charm Allen, our district attorney, makes the tape disappear. Like, you'll see the tape when they enter, you'll see the tape when he stands up, but when the shooting and all that starts to happen, the tape goes black. And all we're left with is audio. You hear the audio clip, you'll hear the audio, but you can't see anything. And so when they walk in, get his arms and hands, you'll hear Anthony say, wait. The tapes that we've seen go black, but you hear the sound. And what you hear at that point is several shots firing off. And we know today, because the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, so TBI, the FBI's field office in Tennessee, stepped in and did investigation, and TBI has already confirmed that Anthony never fired a single shot. They didn't do a gun residue test on him because they said it was no gun residue test because he never shot a gun. You'll also find out that all the shell cases, now cops are administered 9mm guns. The shell cases that they found, though, were 45mm, which is Anthony's gun. He had the 45mm gun in the bathroom. And so, therefore, it is safe to say by the ballistics evidence that the only gunshot was Anthony's gun, but the kicker was he wasn't the shooter. Officer Claybo of the Knoxville Police Department is the damn shooter. And so, when the tape blacks out, you hear the multiple shots fired off. You'll hear Graylin Strong, who's the young man in the bathroom with him, immediately freaks the fuck out. He's like, save him, help him. He's bleeding. Do something about it. Y'all tripping. Why did y'all do that? I mean, he will literally start saying all these different things. Is that me?
What's that?
No. I was like, it's weird. Music just started playing on my phone. Sorry. But you'll hear Graylin Strong literally pleading for his friend's life, and then also in his own fright and traumatization he just experienced on the cops. Like, y'all wrong. Like, you'll hear him say that, like, y'all wrong for that. And then you'll hear them telling him, oh, we're getting medical staff and medical assistance. Now, there is another video clip that's already been released to the public. What we do see on this other video body cam footage is that when Anthony is shot and land on the ground and clearly visible, having blood coming out from underneath his body, you'll see Stanley Cash, the ranking lieutenant black officer. You'll see him go to Anthony Thompson Jr.'s body, not to apply pressure to his gun wound, not to apply ballistic gun injury gauze to his body or his injury. You'll see Stanley Cash roll Anthony Thompson Jr.'s body over and put handcuffs on the little boy's dead body. At this point, I'm considering Anthony dead. And then you'll see Stanley Cash, after he handcuffs Anthony, because there's blood on his hands, guess what he does, Kiko? He goes to the sink and washes the blood off his hands. So he can't deny that he did not know Anthony was not injured. Yes, he did, because he washed the boy's blood off of his hands. And then the scenario then plays out by a timeline based on what Charm Allen, again, our district attorney, says about the school nurse reporting down there and doing assessment. And at some point, the ambulance was called in and he was removed. And, just a bunch of BS at that point going forward. But long story short, Anthony Thompson Jr. was murdered because he was a black child in a crisis, and he chose his weapon of defense as a gun, plain and simple. And it's unfortunate that in a society where we are supposed to be preserving the most precious life, which is our children's lives, they were so reckless and negligent in preserving this child's life. They were more worried about being the hero than they were actually about being the true hero, which would be saving this kid's life in a crisis. And they bypassed every option, including calling his own mother, who works for the school system, to the school grounds to do the right thing, which was make sure her son lives through the encounter. And I want to carry further, because here's my favorite part, Knoxville, and for America. The favorite part is white boys after Anthony have continued to commit crimes with guns. And here's my favorite part, Kiko. You think they dead right now? Do you think they're dead right now? No, they're alive. This past school year in Gibbs High School in the fall semester, a Gibbs High School student, a white boy, brought a gun to his school, and he did threaten to kill all the kids and students in his school. Guess what? They apprehended the gun, and he's still alive. We had the Rural King killer. So Rural King is a major store. I'm sure you all know something about it. It's like the Tractor Supply store. They offer a lot of farming equipment, etc. But we had a white male, another white kid, 18 years old, take an assault rifle to the Rural King store and kill an employee. Same thing. He was apprehended with his gun, but he's still alive. We had a white man who got mad at Little Caesars because his pizza wasn't hot and ready. Pulls out an AR rifle and threatens to murder the Little Caesars staff over a damn pizza. Same thing. Apprehended with his gun and still alive. And then last but not least, we had a whole white man escape jail, Kiko, ran up in somebody's house, holding a family of whole hostages. They brought the negotiation team, the whole shebang. This is an escape convict. Somebody you really got the right to kill on sight if you catch him, if you catch him in your sights to do it. They brought at the negotiation team and everything, Kiko. Walked this escaped armed prisoner, white man, out of these people's home, armed, apprehended, and guess what? Not dead and returned back to jail alive. So don't tell me, KPD, that you cannot not do it. I watched you do it numerous times when the assailant was white, but when the assailant was black, you murdered him, and that's what you did. So that's why I got no excuses for Knoxville Police Department, and more importantly for white Knoxville when it comes to Anthony, because y'all do that shit for them white boys. But when it's these black boys, y'all kill them every single time. So I don't want to hear it. And that's why we have to address police brutality. That's why police immunity needs to be ended once and for all. That's why police departments need to carry their own insurance. So when these lawsuits come down, the insurance company be the one to press them about doing the right thing, because they ain't gonna keep covering murderous cops and on their insurance dollars. They're not gonna keep doing that. That's taking money from their investors and from their stock fund. So they're not gonna keep doing that for you. And then the last part is, of course, thorough backgrounds on everybody and biannual mental and physical evaluations. Are you fit for the job? Just like they do in the military. Are you fit for performance? If you're not fit for performance, you are suspended. And then there's a process like the military that they go through. When you're not fit for performance, they take you through a couple of processes. And at the end of the process, if you're still not fit for performance, guess what they do? Get the hell out of here, because you don't fit the description of what we're looking for in our employees. And those are some of the things I'm going to implement in response to Anthony Thompson Jr., but not just Anthony Thompson Jr., also in response to Sierra McCullen, who was mentally having a mental health crisis. All she had was a knife, and she was gunned down by 4 grown white men who claimed that she was a threat, even though she's a woman with a knife. And y'all 4 grown-ass men. Y'all couldn't tackle her. Y'all thought guns was the best way to deal with her. And as well as Philly Phelps. Philly Phelps is kind of where this all really starts at. Philly Phelps was a Cambodian man who was approached by Officer Dylan Williams, who shot him down as he was running away in his back. And we didn't have body cams then. So we have a total he said, she said story. My question is, where is Dylan Williams today, Knoxville? Where is this man at on our police force? Is he still employed, or are they stuffed him in the back somewhere out of sight, out of mind, because they think that we're going to forget about Philly Phelps? And then, of course, most recently, Lisa Edwards. Her crime was poverty. This is a true poverty crime. This woman died not because she was white, but she died because she didn't have the insurance and the economics to stay at that hospital. And so instead of preserving her life and seeing the medical distress, we have the total opposite. We have negligence, ridicule, and total humiliation of this woman, all the way down to her final breath when she dies in the back of a cop car being escorted to the holding center out in our Knox County area. And so yes, as we remember Anthony Thompson Jr., I get all upset and angry again, because I know that young brother should be alive today. I know there was definitely multiple ways of de-escalation to approach the situation. And it's shameful that in America, because you're Black and you're already deemed a criminal because of the skin, but when you add a gun or something else to the picture, it's almost like it is justification for your murder, and an even acceptable justification for your murder because you had a gun. But white men got guns all the time, and we don't see the same treatment.